What's up, player? Yeah. Yeah, living there talking here. Come to you live with Daigo, VRified Games. How we doing, Daigo?
Hey Ed, how's it going?
Shit, man. Going. It's going in some direction. Anyhow, tell me, my man, what is it we're doing today?
Well Ed, today we're taking a look at Dreadout 2 in first person with 6 DOF motion controls thanks to UEVR.
We're looking at Dread what?
Dreadout 2. Oh, alright, okay. So I get that this is more of a cult title, more of an indie title, but it has quite a pedigree behind it. So okay. Dreadout 2, it's normally played from a third person perspective over the shoulder, and you use your camera, in this case a camera phone, but you use a camera to fight against supernatural entities like ghosts, etc. You take their photo, make them disappear. Now if all that sounds familiar, it should. For all intents and purposes, the Dreadout series is a spiritual successor, well it's more of a homage really, to the Fatal Frame / Project Zero series. Now for those who don't know, Fatal Frame / Project Zero, depending on what part of the world you're from, was a series of survival horror games. Typically they're played in third person. You go into first person when you're using your camera, and again you're fighting ghosts, and the camera is the means with which you combat them. Now this series was huge on the PlayStation 2, it had ports on the Xbox, had a sort of resurgence on the Wii thanks to the motion controls, continued on to the Wii U, and now today we have PC ports of various titles. Now the core gameplay with those games remains the same. Third person and you use a camera, whereas the first 3 titles in the series used the fixed camera angle. This all changed from part 4 onwards, where it used an over the shoulder third person camera, similar to what you're seeing in the Dreadout series, obviously borrowing from Resident Evil 4, which was big at the time. Now, so that leads us to Dreadout. So the Dreadout series obviously borrows heavily from Fatal Frame / Project Zero. And sadly there hasn't been a Fatal Frame game since Maiden of the Blackwater on the Wii U, but Dreadout has filled that void nicely. So taking a cue from the later games in the series, it is a third person perspective, over the shoulder camera. It does switch to first person when using your camera phone to fight the ghosts, just like you would expect with Fatal Frame / Project Zero. So all the gameplay elements are in place. It is survival horror. For the uninitiated, you would assume it's the same series. Like if you were to look at screen grabs or gameplay without any context, you'd go, oh, that's Fatal Frame. It's very, very close. Now, although it is close, it does have its own flavor, whereas the Fatal Frame / Project Zero series takes place in Japan and borrows heavily from Japanese mythology. The Dreadout series is based in Indonesia and borrows heavily from that mythology / culture. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to Asian horror, there's just something more visceral, something more tangible. It's scarier, man. Asian horror is a lot more scary than westernized horror, and I don't know if it's because we're desensitized with movies or whatever, but man, the Asian stuff is downright creepy. I love it. I love it.
So let me get this straight, man.
Yep.
So basically in all of these games you're like a paparazzi, yeah?
Well, I guess, yeah.
Linda. Sorry. Kita cuma mau ngasih pelajaran, tapi
Well, it goes back to that old Native American fear that they thought if you took their photo you were stealing their soul. It goes all the way back to that. The idea being that the camera will take the energy from the ghost and that's how you progress. It was a very unique gameplay element at the time, back when the first Fatal Frame released on PlayStation 2, let me tell you. And these games have a cult following, like they have a huge following, and the Dreadout series is no different. If you're a Fatal Frame / Project Zero fan, you are aware of Dreadout, and if you're a Dreadout fan, you've no doubt gone back to the Fatal Frame / Project Zero series. Like, the cross-pollination between the two series is huge. Oh yeah, I've called it spiritual successor, but it's more of a homage. Super dedicated fans of Fatal Frame / Project Zero made Dreadout. I mean, that was obvious. And they are carrying the torch for that flavour of survival horror. So the Dreadout series in itself consists of 3 titles. There was Dreadout, which sadly was made on the Unity engine, so that's not possible to use with UEVR, but who knows, maybe one of the Unity guys like Rikaparda could one day take a look. Who knows? I don't know. Then you got Dreadout 2, which is the title we're looking at today, and it even has its own VR title called Dread-Eye, just more of a spin-off than a sequel, but it is based in that Dreadout universe. But that's more of a seeded experience. Like, it's a very good experience, but in terms of a game, yeah, it's more of one of those VR experiences like where we used to demo the systems back in the day and to show, you know, studios the potential of the hardware. So Dreadout 2 is what we're looking at. As I said before, it's normally played from a third person over the shoulder perspective. You aim with your camera and you go into first person when using the camera. Now what we've gone and done is we have tracked your camera phone with 6 degrees of freedom thanks to UEVR, and it works surprisingly well. You use the cell phone light, shine areas, and you take photos, all very, very naturally. We've also opted to play the game in its entirety from a first person perspective, just because that's how we like to do things, isn't it, Ed?
Yeah, what? Sure, man, yeah.
Okay, it's good to know you're paying attention. And as you can see, everything lines up perfectly in 6 degrees of freedom. When you target your enemy with your camera phone, you'll see like a little circle appear in the center. Now, the stronger that circle gets, the more power you're going to take when you take a photograph. And that's pretty much how it works. You'll also notice when you get close to a spirit entity, your phone screen will start to glitch. This is something you wouldn't really notice in third person all that much, apart from sound cues, but it works surprisingly well in first person because you're holding the phone for the entirety. So yeah, not much more to say. If you guys want to download this profile for yourselves, it is available. Link in the description. Very, very simple. Just import it into your UEVR and press play. So that's it, you guys. Yeah, enjoy Dreadout 2 with UEVR. So I guess we're going to leave it there, you guys. Like, comment and subscribe. If you have any thoughts, queries, any critiques, put them down below. If indeed there are any games you'd like us to look at VRifying in the future, put those down below and we will presumably get back to you eventually. You can also follow us on TikTok for our adventures over there, which are basically condensed versions of what we do over here. And yeah, follow us on all social medias. All links will be in the descriptions, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you there also. Alright, VRified Games out.
Siapa ya? Pergi! Hah? Linda? Hah? Hantunya udah pergi?